Just like you folks, I've been watching this train derailment in Ohio very, very, very closely. And what I am seeing is very concerning to me from the outside looking in. I'm not minimizing the concern that the residents in the surrounding areas have. That I mean, their concerns are much higher than mine, but I'm concerned for them. And there's good reason for that. See a lot of what I'm going to talk about today isn't the actual train derailment. I don't think that's important, but the aftermath and how things are being handled is way more important, because if it's not handled properly, lives could be lost. And it seems to me that a lot of big names are involved with this, and they're probably names that you guys are aware of. But let me kind of give you a little bit of insight as to what this video is going to contain today. This video, the first thing we're going to talk about today is we're going to talk about the tragedy of the train derailment and the aftermath and how these people are dealing with it and what they're seeing over there. And then the next thing that we're going to talk about is the response to this disaster over there in Ohio. And then what I want to talk about is the big money that's involved with this, and why this cover up that's happening right now is so important. And if we follow the money, then we can understand why things are playing out the way they are. And if we expose it, then then the people of Ohio and Pristine and the surrounding areas are more likely to get the help that they need and deserve. Look at what happened in 9/11. When 9/11, the tragedy in 9/11 hit, it was bad enough to have those planes going into the Twin Towers, but it was even worse, the tragedy that continued for years and years and generations after that. Because of the asbestos that was in the buildings, everybody got the green light to go in there and help. And the same thing is happening right now over there in Pristine. And so they need a voice. And so what I'm going to do today is I'm going to do my best to give them a voice and stand out and make sure that they are heard. Okay, but first I want to thank everybody for visiting Right IQ, and my name is Ty, and I want to make sure that everybody understands that this could have been your neighborhood. It still can, because these things are happening all over the U.S. today. And I'm going to get into that also. But first, I want to start by listening to the local news and how they're responding to it, to this tragedy, and the preparations that they've done, and the what they're giving the green light for. Listen to this.
Officials say that the Ohio River is big enough, thankfully, that many of those chemicals have been diluted.
Ohio EPA and other state agencies have been working with the Ohio River Valley Water Sanitation Commission, some may know as ORSANCO, to track the contaminant plume in real time. It's moving at about a mile an hour. ORSANCO's tracking allows for potential closing of drinking water intakes to allow the majority of the chemicals to pass. This strategy, along with drinking water treatment like oxidation and advanced treatment like activated carbon, are both effective at addressing these contaminants and helps ensure the safety of the drinking water supplies. So we're pretty confident that these low levels are not getting passed on to the customers.
I'm sure that lady is a very nice lady, and I'm sure that she's doing the best job that she can with the information that she has. But I work with water every day, and what I can tell you is that it is not as simple as they are making it sound. And it's not just the water. It's the when they caught those chemicals on fire, and I deal with chemicals every day also. And what I can tell you is that it is bad enough to burn one chemical, but there were 4 different chemicals that were burned, and each of those chemicals on their own are very, 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 very poisonous. I cannot explain to you how poisonous each one of these are together. I couldn't even tell you what that means when you mix all of those chemicals together and you burn them. That is a petri dish from hell right there. And I am not going to sit here and tell you that they had other alternatives. I don't know. I couldn't tell you for sure because cleanup is a very, very sticky subject. And if it's not done right, then you can cause more problems also. So I'm not going to sit up here and tell you that they did everything right or if they did everything wrong. But what I'm going to tell you is that what went up into those skies was not good. And what goes up must come down. Either it comes down in concentration right there, which a lot of it did in Pristine, or it comes down in the surrounding areas, catches the wind stream, and sends it around the United States and the world. And I don't know how diluted it gets up there in the wind stream or anything like that. All we know for sure is a whole bunch of really bad chemicals went up into the air, and they're going to come down, and they're already feeling the effects over there in Pristine and the surrounding areas of Pristine, and not just in the water, it's in the soil. People were breathing this stuff in, and nobody around there can tell you what future effects that's going to have on the women, men, and children over there. Not to mention the soil, okay, the air quality, and the water. Take a look at this lady right here. She had some chickens, and within 24 hours after them burning it, look what happened.
So I walked up to the cage, and this is what I found.
Amanda Brashears was going to feed her 5 hens and rooster this morning when she discovered them all lifeless, practically in the same position, with no signs of a predator entering their enclosure.
I'm beyond upset and quite panicked because they may be just chickens, but they're family.
Brashears says her chickens were alive and well yesterday. She believes the smell following the detonation of the train carrying chemicals that derailed in East Palestine is to blame for her birds' sudden death.
My video camera footage shows my chickens were perfectly fine before they started this burn. And as soon as they started the burn, my chickens slowed down and they died. If we can do this to chickens in one night, imagine what it's going to do to us in 20 years.
That lady is 100% correct. Those chickens and the fish in the streams and all the wildlife, they are the canary in the coal mine as far as how toxic it is for human beings also. And so just because human beings didn't keel over and die immediately from these poisons that were raining down on them doesn't mean that in the future, could be recent, could be the near future, could be far future, could be a year away, 6 months away. It could be 10 years away or 15 years away. So she's 100% correct. If this is what's happening to the chickens and the livestock and the animals that are roaming around that area, they are the canary in the coal mine, and they should be worried. I would love to sit up here and tell you everything is going to be all right, everything is going to move on, and everybody's going to forget about this, and we're going to laugh about it in the future, but nobody's going to laugh about this. No, this is not something that's going away anytime soon. And they're already seeing what they say, over 6,000 fish have died. I don't know who goes around counting how many fish died, but I'm sure there's more than that. If there's 6,000, there's more. And that doesn't include like worms and frogs and insects. And all of these animals are part of the ecosystem. You take one of those animals, you take earthworms out of the ecosystem, and then your soil dies. You take frogs out of the ecosystem, and you have an insect population that expands and can cause problems. So I don't know what happens if half of your wildlife dies. What happens to that ecosystem? I'm not exactly sure. Take a look at the stream that they have over there on, it's called Leslie's Run. Take a look at the stream that they have over there and look at the precautions that they took, and look at the devastation to this small creek. Can you imagine what it's doing in the large rivers? Take a look at this.
I am currently in Negley, Ohio. I'm at the corner of By Road and US 170 North. This is the bridge that goes over top of Leslie Run. This is their filter barrier that they have currently. But I think it's important for people to see the dead fish. I'm gonna walk under the bridge here above and show you. Coming right up, another fish. There's hundreds of them up here in this area across here. Hundreds. Another fish. Another fish. They're just everywhere.
That's crazy. That's crazy. And what they want you to believe is that the worst of it is over and that we can all get back to our regular lives and everything's going to be okay. But it's not. It's not over yet. See, I remember when the Exxon Valdez, you know what I mean, when they had that huge oil spill, I think it was out in the Gulf of Mexico, and they had oil everywhere, and it was very visible. Wildlife was coming out of the ocean, covered in this, this black oil. And there was oil over the beaches, and what they did was they went over every rock, wiped everything down. They took all this wildlife out, cleaned them off, tried to save them. You're not seeing any of that happening right now. You're not. And what they want you to believe is that it's run its course, it's going to go out to the major lakes, it's going to get diluted, and everything is going to be okay. But that's not how chemicals act. Did you see that filtration that they put out there? That little line that they had going across that creek? That is more than likely that's got carbon in it, and carbon attracts contaminants. That's true. It does, but it's resting on top of the water. Okay, how much water is going underneath that and bypassing that? Probably a lot. But that's not it. They want you to believe that they've taken these steps and it's all over now. Everybody can just go back to normal. But here's what happens. Everything that goes into the water eventually settles. Okay? And then when it gets disturbed, it reactivates itself. Take a look at this video of a stream that looked like it was okay until you threw a rock in it. Take a look at this.
Wow.
Look at all that.
Look at it.
It's all in the bottom of the creek bed. Now look at it. But they burned all the chemicals off of there, right?
That's what I heard, yeah.
Maybe off the top.
So for the people who are listening on podcasts, let me go ahead and break down that last clip for you. So a lady threw a rock into a stream that just looked like a normal stream. And a small river could be, and so she threw this rock into this small stream, and all of a sudden, as soon as that rock hit the bottom, and the water started jostling around with the ripples, all of a sudden you see this rainbow sheen rise to the surface of the water, not just where the rock hit, but everywhere the water was jostled around. And what that is those are the toxins that were resting on the floor coming up to the surface so that you could see it, right? So it's reactivated itself and can now be. So imagine if your kids were playing in that creek. Okay, imagine if your kids were playing in that creek a year from now. Yes, they could still be poisoned from that water. In my opinion, okay, and I'm not a professional, I just have a little bit of common sense, and I am in the water industry over here in California. What I would highly recommend is that they dredge those rivers and the creeks and all those waterways, dredge them and filter them. They can send it through the activated carbon, and the activated carbon will more than likely do its job, but you have got to get all of that chemical up off of the creek bed and get that moving through the activated carbon so that it can be absorbed into that activated carbon. But that's not what's happening. What's happening now is the water is going underneath as it flows, it goes underneath the activated carbon, bypasses it, and settles somewhere else. And that's a problem. And that's what's going to cause this to continue being a problem for years and years and years to come. Yes, there is an earth filtration system, right? The earth will filter water as it goes through the soil. Okay? But it will end up in the aquifers. It will end up in people's wells. And if that water, it'll settle in those wells, but as soon as that water is jesseled a little bit, there's some motion within that water, it's going to disturb it, and it's going to rise and get mixed up with the water again. So if you're drinking that water, you're drinking that poison. Now, the dilution rate on that, I'm not exactly sure of, and I'm not going to make any assumptions on that, but I will assume that as much chemical as got sent up into the air, and as it came down concentrated, there is a lot of chemical in that water, in that soil, and that's why all the wildlife is dying. And until you get rid of those poisons, see, all these fish and frogs and everything like that, where do you think they hang out? The worms, where do you think they hang out? They hang out at the bottom of the creeks and rivers. That's where they get their food from. Right? So this is going to be an ongoing problem. And I wish that they were handling this like the Exxon Valdez, because that would give me more hope, but they're not. They're not handling it like that. They just want to close this chapter and move on. And that's very disturbing to me. And I want to tell the people of Palestine that my heart goes out for you, and my family is praying for you. And I urge everybody who is watching this video today, I urge you to pray for them too, because they need it, because they are not getting the support that they need. And now I want to talk about the response, how they've responded to this. And it seems to me like this is one large CYA from Norfolk Southern Railway. Now, it seems like a big CYA, and it seems to me like the railway just wants to get people off of their back, and their main concern was opening up that railway as quickly as possible so that they could start moving product and making money. So I was watching this interview with Steve Bannon, and he had a guest on there, and they were talking about this same subject, and it was very enlightening, the aspects that they brought up during this whole ordeal. And so I want to go ahead and let Steve Bannon set up his talking points here, and then I'll go ahead and respond to them. Here's what Steve Bannon and his guests had to say about that. Take a listen to this.
You've got people saying, oh, the air quality is okay, or you can move back. You don't have to evacuate. You can go back, but you should bathe. You should bathe. If you got a well, you should bathe in water, in bottled water. It's so confusing how they're doing it. They don't have enough respect for people. This is why this town hall last night was important. The people have thousands of questions, right? They all gather and look like a high school gym. And the key guys, the executives who are all so quick to make the decision to release it and then burn it in the open atmosphere are no-shows.
Yeah. What I'm seeing here is one large CYA, not only from Norfolk Southern Railway, but also from the DeWine administration, also the governor over there. Did I get his name right? DeWine, yeah. All I'm seeing is one big CYA. That means cover your, you know what I mean. And they are covering their, you know what I mean. They are doing that at the expense of the population of that city and the surrounding cities. And there is no clear. I heard initially, oh, okay, it's fine to drink the water now. Everything's good because everything is passed on. Then you see that video of that rock going into the creek. No, it's not okay to drink that water. And I would be leery of anything that they're telling you right now. If I was the population of Pristine, I would be very, very, very leery of any advice that they give you. Because if they are covering their asses on this, they are not going to be looking out for you. They will be looking out for themselves. And so I would use your common sense before you do anything. Like if they say, hey, look, you can go ahead and take showers in it. And I don't know if that's what they're doing. I'm assuming they're telling you not to take showers in it because you don't want that on your skin either, because your skin will absorb that. Okay. There's too many unknowns right now. And as far as I'm concerned, I might go as far as to say that this whole area should have been evacuated immediately, and it should not. Nobody should be living there right now until they get a handle on this. And I was watching on Fox News a gentleman that lives over there, and his concern was how they evacuated everybody also. Listen to what he had to say over there on Fox News about the evacuation process and what he would have hoped that they would have done. Take a look and take a listen to this.
You have told my team and me that you feel like they waited too long to evacuate you.
Absolutely. So on Friday night when the trail derailing had happened, I want to know why there wasn't an immediate evacuation set into place due to the fact that they knew what was on the cars, because they have to provide the information to the fire department on what they're going to suppress this fire with. They obviously use foam to contain it as best as they could. And when this train left, it was in Salem, and they knew that there was a malfunction in Salem, which these markers are every 20 miles for them to provide information about the train and what's going on with it. Why weren't they slowing down at that point in time?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. I would like to know why they didn't slow down or stop a lot sooner. Also, as if there's a 20 miles that they knew, 20 miles should have been plenty of time for them to be able to shut that train down. But they knew how many cars were on there that had toxic chemicals on there, and they knew that. And so as soon as that train derailed, there should have, because they knew each and every chemical. They have to log each and every chemical, so that they knew that place should have been evacuated immediately, and it wasn't. So my question is, why wasn't it? Why wasn't that town evacuated immediately? And why did they allow people to get anywhere near that train? And why did they not keep the evacuation for a lot longer period of time? Those are the questions that I have. Because by allowing those people to go back there, and I know why they did it. They wanted everybody to say, okay, everybody, we got this under control. Everybody can go back home and move on with the rest of their life, because that's what they want everybody to do, is just forget about this. But the fact of the matter is they knew damn well that it wasn't safe to go back to their houses, and they still allowed it to happen. Why? That's my question. I want to know why they allowed them to go back. That place should still be quarantined right now. The evacuation order should still be in action right now, but it's not. Because the reason I say that is because every surface, I'm talking about the ground, I'm talking about the plant life, I'm talking about the bushes and the trees that you rub up against. All of that is coated now. All of that has a coating of this toxic muck. So the ground, the water, your car, when you go reach over there and grab the handle for your car, you're getting that on your hands, which can be absorbed into it. I'm telling you that this is bad. When I heard somebody say that it's like America's Chernobyl, and I don't know if I would go that far, but it's bad. I mean, it's real bad, and they're not handling this the way they should be handling this. Look, I am just a little guy over here with a camera, trying to make some content and trying to wake some people up. So I'm not a scientist trying to say that I have all the answers, but I do have common sense. But what they want you to do is abandon your common sense and listen to them. But those are the same people that got you into this mess. Those are the same people that want to move past this as quickly as possible. For what reason? I don't know. But those are not the people that you should be listening to. I am not going to take advice from somebody who robs me. I'm not going to take advice from somebody who wishes me ill will. Why would I listen to them? Right now, Governor DeWine is in big trouble. He's in big trouble because from what I understand, that he rushed to burn that way too quickly at the request of the railway. Why would you listen to the people who caused this in the first place? The people who profited from carrying all this cargo. Look, there was over 150 cars on that train. 150, over 9,000 feet long. This train was over 9,000 feet long. You want to know why it couldn't stop quickly? That's why. I'm assuming that it could have stopped within 20 miles. I'm assuming it takes less than 20 miles to stop a train. But when you have the train with 150 cars and 9,000 feet long, who knows how much all that weighed? Yes, there's going to be problems. It's not going to be able to slow down. And there was over 20 cars. 20. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 20 cars with this toxic material in it. So it wasn't as if there was just 4 cars with toxic material. There was 20 cars. That is an enormous amount of toxic waste that they are trying to brush underneath the rug right now. An enormous. But Dr. Siegel was over there talking on Fox News, giving his opinion on the health concerns that he has during the aftermath of this train derailment and the toxic chemicals that were went up in the air. Listen to what he's got to say. Listen, this is crazy.
Chloride, which is a toxic gas that people are feeling that irritation, their eyes are burning, they're getting headaches. It can cause respiratory problems. Another gas, phosgene, which was in World War I and used as a poison. The other one that no one's talking about is butyl acrylate, which is another toxic gas that's causing the headaches. I'm worried about down the line, vinyl chloride, small amounts of it in the environment leads to cancer. Even small amounts of it in the environment could affect fertility for generations to come. I'm worried about the long-term risk, but we're not out of the short-term woods yet.
Yeah, there's a lot about this situation as far as the health concerns and everything like that we just don't understand yet. Like I said earlier, I mean, one of these chemicals is bad enough. You put all these chemicals together and you have a petri dish from hell, and the victims are the residents. It's not DeWine. He doesn't live there. He's in the clear. He's good to go. But he has not done anything, not a damn thing for the residents of Palestine and the surrounding areas. He's done nothing. And I was listening to that gentleman that was speaking earlier on Fox News, and man, his story, I mean, almost brought a tear to my eye. I can only imagine what he's going through right now. I mean, I could try to put myself in his position, but there's just no way to verbalize what this gentleman is more than likely going through. And so my heart goes out to him, but listen to what he says here and tell me if this doesn't bring a tear to your eye right here. Listen to this.
What chemicals or what vapors were you breathing in when all these 4 chemicals were on fire and everybody was out with their cameras and video recorders, taking video of this? What were people breathing in then? We know about the chemicals that were on board the train and the flammability and the cancer-causing agents and what they are. So here we are now, like you said, it's short-term game now, finding out what we have to do to get by. Mm-hmm. But I have 4 kids. I'm a very very loving father, and I care very much about my kids and their future and their health and safety.
Brandon, my heart goes out to you and your family, and I wish you and your family the best. I know that you have a long road ahead of you, living where you live right now and the devastation that's happened around you. And I mean not just towards Brandon and his family. I mean that to every single family over there. And this is not political. Nothing about this for me is political. This is about humans. This is about humanity, the good and the evil, and the people who have to deal with the consequences of evil people. And my prayers go out to everybody in that area, in Palestine and the surrounding areas. And I wish that you had had better leadership over there. And, I know that your fight is not over, and this is just the beginning of your fight. And I hope, because I don't know what's going to happen in the future with you folks over there that were breathing in all these toxic chemicals. I don't know what your future holds, but I know that I will do my part to make sure that we follow this story until the end, because there has got to be justice for you people over there. And there has got to be accountability, and there has got to be some people going to jail. This cannot stand. And this sickens me to see how the government, your government over there is handling this, and Norfolk Southern Railroad, how they're handling this, and our federal government, how they're handling that. And that's what I kind of want to get into right now. But my heart goes out to you folks. We are humans. I have empathy for you. You hurt yourself, I feel it. Because we are not the same, but we are. Because that could have just as easily happened in my town. And it could be you looking in on us. And my heart goes out to you. And I hope that these people step up. I hope that the people that are responsible for this, I hope that they are held accountable. And I hope that there is some regulation being put in place right now that will not allow this to happen again. And now I'm going to get into more of a political aspect of this. And I don't like that this is where we're at, to where there's politics involved, but there is. And if we ignore that and act like that's not a part of this situation, then we will never get to the bottom of this. And this will happen again and again and again. And guess what? It is. Now, I don't know if there's any connection here. But I can tell you that there's been, since this incident, there's been at least 4 or 5 other incidents with toxic chemical spills, and most of them have been on railways, and majority of them have been in conservative states. Now, I don't know if this is some sort of a political distraction or what's going on. So I'm just going to point out the obvious and let you guys make your own conclusions on that. But what I can tell you is that DeWine, I am kind of wondering, and let me put my tinfoil conspiracy hat on there, and I don't know anything. So I'm reading the tea leaves right now, and what I see here is that I see that originally they came in and offered $25,000 for the cleanup, and screw everybody else, they're on their own. Forget about the ecological disaster. Where are the tree huggers? Where are the tree huggers saying, hey, look, what about Mother Earth? Where are they? Or do they only care about police stations being built in where there's trees in the forest, like what was happening over there in Washington State? But where are the tree huggers now? Where are the earth lovers, the ones that think that nobody else cares about the earth? Where are they at? Where's Antifa? Where's BLM? Because they care so much. Where are they? They should be there, but they're not. Okay, so before I go on my rant here, what I want to do is I want to go back to Steve Bannon's War Room and listen to a little bit more of what Michael Leahy has to say about this. And it gets they shed a little bit of light on the parts of this that nobody really wants the light shed on. So let's help him shine some light on this situation. Listen to what Michael Leahy has to say.
Buttigieg has not been there. Nobody from the EPA's at a high level has been there. Governor DeWine showed up for 45 minutes on February 8th, helicoptered in, helicoptered out, not been there since.
Mr. DeWine, Mr. Governor DeWine, these are your people. These are the people that you pledged to look out for, to keep healthy and happy, and why are you not there? Why is it that you are not there? Now, this video was clipped, a day or two ago, right? But why are you not there? I don't know if he's made another trip over there by now or not, but look, he should have been there. These are your people. You pledged to look out for them. You pledged to look out for their safety and their family's safety. And you're nowhere to be found. Why? Why is that, Mr. Leahy? Mr. Governor Leahy? They had a town hall over there in Palestine a couple of days ago, 2 or 3 days ago. And, wouldn't you know it, Norfolk Southern Railroad didn't show up. I can't imagine why. So you guys create the mess, and then you don't show up to explain yourself. Listen to what the War Room had to say about that.
I want to bring in Michael Patrick Leahy. The folks in East Palestine, Ohio, last night, they were supposed to have, when we left the show last night, it was supposed to be a town hall there, Michael Patrick Leahy. We were following it. Everybody, the town showed up, the officials showed up, the great folks from East Palestine showed up. Norfolk Southern didn't show up. Why was that? What's your reporting say on that, Michael Patrick Leahy?
Our story just published now, Norfolk Southern refuses to show up at meeting of East Palestine, Ohio residents. Last night, just before the meeting, Norfolk Southern issued a statement that said, we're worried about our personal safety, therefore we're not going to show up. Not exactly what you would call a transparent discussion of their responsibilities.
Well, is that because of but by the way, is that because of the air? Is it because of the water? Right? Or they think that there are folks there that are getting worked up a little angry about this. I mean, is it unsafe because of the air and water, because of what they?
Yeah, Steve, I'm pretty sure it's probably one of those. It could be any of them, really. Yeah, it's dangerous over there, so maybe they don't want to be over there right now. I could see that. I get that. You know what I mean? But they caused it, so they should be there. At least show up in hazmat suits, something, anything. Or is that they don't want to take the heat? If nobody speaks, then nobody says anything stupid that makes them more liable than what they really are. Isn't that what it is? Norfolk Southern Railway. Isn't that what it is? Are you guys too big to bless the little people of Palestine with your presence and explain to them what happened and why you made the decisions that you made? Or maybe it's more than that. Maybe this involves more about money than what they're letting on. And if they were to show up there, nothing that they said would make sense because you can't backpedal that quickly and that far. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe this has to do with money. I think it does. I'm going to get into that a little bit down the road a little bit. But I think this has a lot to do with money. And when you guys hear about who's behind this railway, it's going to clear a lot more things up for you. But before I get into that, I'm going to let you listen to another clip from the War Room with Steve Bannon, because they're hitting all the right questions, I think, and they seem to believe that that Mr. Governor DeWine maybe has some more explaining to do when it comes to why he made the decision that he made as far as burning all of those toxic chemicals and putting all that into the air. See, he's responsible for the controlled release of that of the toxic materials, and he was also responsible for the controlled burn of those toxic chemicals that sent all of those toxic chemicals up into our skies, or up into Palestine's skies, to be more precise, because they're dealing with the blunt of this. I don't even know if we're going to feel any of it over here in California, but they're dealing with it. Why? Why would you do that? There wasn't a better way? There may have been a reason why you did that, but let's listen to Steve Bannon and Mr. Leahy and figure out what their opinion is on this. Take a listen to this.
We can't get anybody to take ownership of this. The New York Times said today that it was actually the company kind of, made the decision, or the company kind of did this controlled release. This is also in two places. What was the decision on the controlled release to let the fluid out? And what's the math to back that up? Because I'm telling you right now, I don't think they're telling the truth. I don't think there was hard data that said if you don't get it out now, and if temperatures drop, it's going to blow up. I think they wanted to get it off the track so they could open up and have trains going as soon as possible. And I understand a company would want to do that, but it shouldn't be the company's. It's not the company's responsibility, according to Jeffrey Clark. Is that correct, Michael Patrick Leahy? It should be the on-scene commander from EPA, sir?
Yeah, and we cannot get the governor of Ohio, who said it was the collective we who decided to do the controlled burn on February 6th. The New York Times article today, kind of following your lead, Steve, the New York Times basically said, yeah, it was really the Norfolk Southern executives who kind of forced this decision.
Can somebody explain to me why the governor of Ohio is taking any advice from Norfolk Railway? Can somebody explain that to me? Why would you take advice from the people who caused this disaster in the first place? Unless, I don't know, were you paid off? Did you get a check shoved underneath your door? Did they pad your pockets? Now, I don't know that. I'm not making any accusations. I'm just asking the question, is that what happened? Because that would make a hell of a lot more sense than what's happening right now. Because this doesn't make any sense. Why wouldn't you wait for the EPA or some other agency to come over here and tell you how to deal with this tragic accident? Why would you go to the people the railway? Are they supposed to be professionals in hazardous material spills? I don't think so. So why would you listen to them? So Mr. DeWine, I think you have some explaining to do. You could be wearing a jumpsuit very soon, because I don't think the people of Ohio are going to be okay with just letting this go underneath the carpet. Because you can shove it under the carpet all you want, but the truth will come out, and you will be held responsible. And if you are responsible for this, if you did take advice from Norfolk Railroad, then you're responsible. And everything that's happened from that point forward is on your shoulders. And you hold the blame for it. See, I don't know if all of you guys realize this, but Joe Biden turned down Ohio's request for disaster assistance after toxic derailment. What they said was it wasn't a normal type of national disaster like a tornado or a hurricane or something like that. So it doesn't fall underneath the federal government's purview. Well, I disagree with that. And it come to find out that Governor DeWine has not even issued a state of emergency over there. He has not declared an emergency. Why? Why has he not declared an emergency over there? I want to know that. Because isn't that the first step in getting federal dollars, is declaring an emergency? Why are you not declaring an emergency? Because that's exactly what this is. This is an emergency. Is it because your pockets are full now and there's no need to? FEMA's like, hey, look, this is not what we deal with. This is not the kind of thing we deal with. And you know what? As much as I don't like to hear it, they're probably right. But the federal government should be getting in there, but they're never going to get involved unless you declare a state of emergency. So when is that going to happen? When are you going to start looking out for your people? That's what I want to know. But listen to this next clip. If the last clip didn't piss you off, this one will. Take a listen.
The first thing they put up, we're putting up $25,000. We're going to help them out. Get them a Dunkin' Donut, get them a glaze, right? We're going to get them a glaze and a hot cup of coffee. $25,000. Now it's up to $1 million. I think they put $1 million, Leahy. This is a joke.
Steve,
a sick
the
joke.
other reason
yes, sir.
why residents of East Palestine, Ohio, are frustrated and upset is this: they're being told that they need to have their water tested. And they're paying taxes for this. The people coming by to do the testing of their water apparently are not employees of the Ohio Department of Environment or the US EPA. They're contractors from Norfolk Southern, and they're being required to sign a waiver that they won't sue Norfolk Southern. And if they don't sign that, the testing won't be done. And they're asking, why are we paying tax dollars to Ohio and the federal government?
Yeah. First off, that's the oldest scam. No one in East Palestine, Ohio should be signing anything.
I agree with that 110%. 150%. I agree with that so much. Do not sign a damn thing, because all they're doing is looking out for themselves. And why is Norfolk Railway, why are they going around doing water testing? Why are they doing that? Shouldn't it be their local government that's going around doing that? Isn't that why they pay their tax dollars? So that they can make sure that they have clean water? And for them to say, yeah, we're not going to test your water if you don't sign this document saying that you're not going to hold us liable. Number one, I don't think that would ever hold up in a court of law. I think that's a Hail Mary right there. But for them to send these goons around there and saying, hey, look, we're going to test your water that we're responsible for contaminating. We'll test it if you don't sue us. Oh, hell no. You get yourself a lawyer right now. Right now. Every single one of you folks over there, man, I hope you got a lot of attorneys over there. And normally I don't like attorneys, but you need one. And you need a good one. And you need him now. Because this is ridiculous. And look, I will tell you exactly why. I'll take that back. I'm going to let Michael Patrick Leahy kind of touch on why this is so important and why it's so important for the railway to brush this underneath the carpet. Take a listen to this.
ESG money management firm BlackRock owns 6.8% of Norfolk Southern. We've asked them this morning to comment and tell us if the management of Norfolk Southern has been conducting itself in a transparent way that's consistent with their ESG standards. We haven't heard anything back from BlackRock yet.
Yeah, he just touched on it. He's just touched on it. And BlackRock is a money managing firm. And they are not the only ones. See, here's what you need to understand. Norfolk Southern Railway, their largest shareholders is Vanguard Group, BlackRock, and State Street. Any of those names ring a bell to you? Yes, they are the three largest money managers in the United States, probably in the world. and they hold so much political power. And if you're not familiar with the real estate market, BlackRock is the one that went around buying up all the real estate for $10,000 to $20,000 over asking price. They are the reason that the price of real estate went as high as it did. And it goes deeper than that. Because you want to know why they're barely touching this. They're mentioning it on the mainstream media, but they're not pointing any fingers. And the reason that they're not pointing any fingers and grilling everybody is because these are the mainstream media that is also has Vanguard, BlackRock, and State Street as shareholders for their companies. It's also CNN, Fox News, ABC, NBC, and CBS. Every single one of those media companies are being funded in part by Vanguard, BlackRock, and State Street. So you want to know why you're not hearing about it? That's why. See, the people who have brought the most attention to this situation over there in Ohio is alternative media, like myself. That is why the federal government is starting to step in right now. I just heard a video on OAN about how they are the federal government is now sending over pop-up tents or something like that over there to start testing the people of Palestine. It's a little bit late for that, don't you think? The damage is already done. What are you doing? You should have been there the day afterwards, but you weren't. But yeah, there's a lot of money and power in this situation right here. That's why I say it's very possible that Governor DeWine got a little paycheck under his door for shoving this under the rug. It's very possible. I'm not saying that that's what happened. Okay, I don't want to get any knocks on the door from, a process server serving me with papers to go to court, because I just don't know. What I'm saying, it is possible, and that's what it looks like. And Vanguard, BlackRock, and State Street have huge political power. And it doesn't do them a good service by allowing this thing to get out of control. So they want to squash this as quickly as possible. And I can't say that I blame them, because this is bad. This is real bad. And Buttigieg came out, the transportation secretary for the Biden administration came out, and he barely said two words about it. But the one thing that he did make clear is that this was Trump's fault. Now, it's amazing to me that everything that bad happens, everything that happens within this administration that turns out bad, Trump always had something to do with it. Isn't that amazing? When the China balloon came over the United States and Biden got caught red-handed allowing it to happen, what's the first thing they did? Oh, what happened underneath Trump? No. Pete Buttigieg, whatever the hell his name is, he has the regulatory authority to do anything that he wants. So anything that happened underneath Donald Trump has nothing to do with this administration right now. Absolutely nothing. And Pete is nowhere to be found. Nowhere to be found. Oh, I think he sent a couple guys down there recently, but not interested. Not interested. He would rather worry about bridges that are too low because of racism. That's more important to him. Finding racism everywhere. Well, I'm sure there are some black people that live in Palestine. I'm sure there are. So from that perspective, Buttigieg, aren't you a little bit racist for not going over there and looking after these black people? Because they're hurting too. It's disgusting. This whole damn thing is disgusting. And I think that BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard need to be put in check. See, the problem is that our federal government is using them See, this is the whole WEF situation. This is where the World Economic Forum, where they want everybody to not own anything and be happy. And so BlackRock went around buying up all this real estate because what they want everybody to do, instead of owning their houses, they want you to rent the houses, and they want you to rent it from them. They are being, if not directly, then indirectly funded through the federal government. It's possible that it's just through government pensions, but the federal government, they're working with the federal government in bringing forward this WEF plan to not own anything. So when they're going around buying up all these properties for $10,000, $20,000 over asking price and bringing up the property values, that's exactly what they want to happen. They don't want you to own these houses, right? And this right here, this whole situation with Norfolk, this is a black eye for them. And it makes them look bad. It exposes them for the tyrants that they are. And, and for CNN, Fox News, NBC, all the mainstream media not to cover this, it makes sense, because did they cover any of the Pfizer problems? No, they didn't, because they're all funded by the same people. They are not going to go after the people who are funding them. Whether it's advertising or whether it's their shareholders, they won't do it. So you're not going to hear much about this on the mainstream media, and they're probably going to do their best to move past this as quickly as possible, but I'm not going to. And I hope that none of my fellow content creators allow this to happen either. I don't think this was a false flag. I think this was negligence. And I think that everything that happened beyond that was CYA. Cover your ass. Because Democrats will never admit when they're wrong. Never admit when they're wrong. And they talk about how every day how Trump is he's for big business, but everything the Democrats do is for big business. They talk out of both sides of their mouth. And we have to realize that. And anybody who's a Democrat that thinks that this administration gives a crap about you, you're wrong. You think you're on the winning team? You're on the team that is trying to wrangle up humanity into a new era of slavery. And you think that you're picking your team, and you're not. What you're doing is you're destroying humanity. You are the problem. And the sooner you figure that out, the better off humanity will be. See, I am not one of those kind of people that think that there are good politicians and bad politicians. I think they're all pretty much bad. Right? But some are better than others. And you can't just listen to what they say. Democrats are really good at running their mouth, but if you sit back, turn the volume down, and watch their actions, you see something completely different. Now, I hope DeWine steps up to the plate and starts helping the citizens of Ohio, because they need it and they deserve it. And they didn't deserve any of this. But what's going to probably have to happen is the people of Ohio are going to have to stand up and be loud. I know you are. I see you on social media. I see that you guys are crying out for help. And I wish there was more that I could do. If I wasn't tied down here in California, with my business, I would be over there bringing you guys water, food, whatever it is I could bring you. If there was, I don't know if there's a way to donate. I'm going to look into that. I'm going to see if there's a way that we can donate, because they need help over there. And I'm going to do everything I can within my power. But with that said, I hope you guys got something out of this. I know this was an extremely long video. It's the longest video I've ever done. But I hope you guys get something out of this, because it's extremely important. And I believe that there will be criminal charges coming very soon. So get your guys an attorney. Don't drink the water. Sterilize your house. And wear gloves. I don't know. I just wouldn't be there right now. I just wouldn't be there right now. But I feel for you guys. You guys are in my hearts. You will be in my prayers. And everybody who watches this, I hope you pray for them too, because they need it. They need all the help that they can get. We are just barely scratching the surface of what could potentially be happening. And they're going to need a lot of support from the rest of us Americans and people throughout the world. So I need everybody to step up, and I need everybody to do what they can, because these people need us. They are our brothers and sisters. They are our family. And we need to look out for them, because if the same thing happened to you, you would be looking for some help too. But in the meantime, let's keep this story on the top. Let's keep it on the top. We don't want this story to go away. The story needs to stay out there, and we need to be loud, and we need to make sure that people are listening. You guys are doing a great job so far. I love you guys. I hope you got something out of the video. If you like the video, give me a like, subscribe. If you have something you want to say, if there's new information that I missed, leave it down in the comments. Love you all. Take it easy. Bye-bye.